I guess me being in the final is it's just another step to the LCS, I'd say. I'm still trying to make my way back, and I'm hoping I do, because I feel like I am trying everything I can to get back and trying to show everything I have still. I feel like I always show results pretty much in every proving grounds I go to. I feel like I always produce my results, and that's what I'm hoping for pretty much.
And let's face it, that last Syndra game was worthy of LCS, man. He really did pop off.
Those were some results.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
You know, it's funny, in the break, I actually had former teammate and Proving Grounds champion with Ryoma, Chad Jungle, also known as Chad Jungies, walked by. And he was like, hey, man, you know the last time that Ryoma won, it was actually a reverse sweep, which is off the back of his Shockwave, of course, in Game 5, but they did reverse sweep TLA. Armeo was not a part of that one as he was over in Europe, but that's kind of a fun fact. I feel like we had to mention that as Ryoma, really big Game 3, pushing them to a Game 4. Now we'll see what happens as we have a side swap coming in yet again. DSG, looks like each of our teams prefer blue. DSG back there.
Yeah, and as the bans come out, the one I'm waiting for, Sejuani. Sejuani's going to be up, so it should be the first thing picked by Tomio right here.
100%.
That said, the Rakan is up too, so DSG actually have a choice. They could first pick that Rakan. It's a big pick here for each of our supports.
Yeah.
It was likely to be the first pick, Saj, but that Rakan now likely to be picked up for Smoothie. And with both Zaya and Kaisa off the board, wondering if we see things get narrowed. Also, Ivern is the answer that EG does like in the Sejuani, so they could go something like Jace Ivern here if they really wanted to. First time that Ivern has been that through.
Couple seconds till we see that last lock-in. Yeah, the Rel is more what I was expecting there, and it could just be another situation where you pick the Rakan immediately after and just reveal where the Rel is going. I think it's a fine pick.
I don't love it. Like, I think we saw some of the shortcomings of it in that last game, where if you are able to reset the fight immediately or have things that can cancel the combo, you can actually capitalize in the long haul. So it'd be curious to see EG go for the exact comp that they just beat in the last game, and they will switch things up. So dropping the Renekton priority,
wow,
giving that over to the Sejuani team, but taking the Cassante, that's very curious coming out of EG here.
I mean, Surdy played it really well in that last game, and even though you do lose out early, as most champions do to the Renekton, your ability to break up these team fights with those Q3s, being able to go all out on an 80 carry, I think is what they're looking to value. And if that Aphelios gets locked in, I mean, that's prime target for a Cassante kidnapping.
They left it wide open, and we saw what happened the last time this was open. He was beast mode on it. He gets the late game, and he gets that positioning so prime where he can take over these team fights.
Good point.
But as you said, I didn't even notice that. Rumble's still available, B.
Oh, wow. But they're going to just go ahead and take the Renekton. I mean, that's less exciting. But
it is big for Game 5. If we do get to a Game 5, because now EG learns, like, hey, they prioritize the Sejuani. Could that slip through again? But no, it's going to be Syndra. That one is going to be locked down for EG, so that Rel, a little bit of flexibility there. But Syndra, I will say, it does create a good amount of space, and you can outrange Aphelios to try and interact with him. Pending some of his gun setups, green-white, you know, you can play pretty far back. But this does give EG something to try and use to harass as, oh yeah, Bjergsen waving to the audience. Good to have him. He's been rooting for Golden Glue, you know, some of the people up here. So shout out to, you know, one of the all-time greats showing up for Challengers. Good to see.
Yeah, two things I want to throw out right away. I mean, I really like the Braum ban. A lot of burst damage is coming up front so far from what we've seen from DSG. You want to remove a way for that to be absorbed. The other thing, too, that is pretty interesting to me is that...
Chad!
Oh, wow, yeah. That's the call out there. But with the Syndra being up, I like it because it's good for Ryoma, but also when you see Sedge, I mean, this is DSG's bread and butter. Not just melee top, but melee mid for Young. But a lot of melees really struggle into the Syndra, but they want to ban the Akali anyways.
Silas, like, I don't even think Silas is playable right now with the ults that are showing, so I actually like that ban from EG.
Yeah.
Whereas Disguise, I would love to see them take away this Nocturne. Yep, no lights being able to be turned off here from EG.
They paid their power bill.
Yeah, they didn't pay the power bill. As I expect EG to lock in a marksman here. Now, I ever heard rumblings. Some teams,
tell us.
Including maybe Manui, have been cooking up Cinderbot, but not going to be the case. It will be Ezreal. That was that through. And Ezreal into the draft that DSG is showing, Ezreal feels really good into these 3 champions.
Yeah, I mean, you're already outranging them a good bit with the Syndra. You know, gun combos pending, but also the Mystic shots. You're not looking at really too many tanky members just yet, and I mean, you have a pretty decent lane phase as well.
The concern here for EG is that Ezreal's never able to get going, not able to like get to the items where you start dealing some decent damage. And DSG, that Azir pick, it is somewhat a self-counter. We saw that in the last one. I think DSG are looking at the comp from EG saying, hey, with the draft we have at the moment, we really can't outscale. We need to get some more early power and then try and topple this game early and then throw an Nautilus on top.
I mean, I really like that one. When you're playing into both the Ezreal and the Syndra, I mean, the Syndra especially, the Rakan failed a little bit because of the scatter of the week, but I mean, it's really hard. You can't scatter away that Nautilus ultimate. That depth charge could be that that big game-changing ult.
I think Trundle Poppy or Ivern. Yeah, okay, so it will be that Ivern, as that was not touched in the pick ban. This is honestly comfort for Armeo. It's a strat that got him, I think, on the LCS this past week. In that game 1 and 2, of course, Armeo playing on that LCS stage with EG. I really think game 1 he was up there because he is the better Ivern player compared to Shaden. So seeing him pilot this again in Challengers in a do-or-die game, gonna be good to see.
And with the composition that we have, we should see a lot of second rotations coming out of this Ivern, specifically more towards the early to mid game, where Evil Geniuses are going to be looking to press a lot of these advantages, press a lot of these fights.
My concern is just, can EG survive? Because when I'm looking at the lanes, Renekton has a Sejuani, gets shoved. Azir very early on, gets shoved. That bot lane, Aphelios plus Nautilus, you can get shoved into the Ezreal rel. So I am concerned, and I want to see how much can Tomio get off of Armeo early? Do we see invades? Do we see dives? Because for me, Disguise have to push the pace of this game.
Yeah, and something this actually happened, I believe, against DSG, where we saw the Ivern come through there, and Fear were the ones who actually took so much advantage. Harry invading when he had so many pushing lanes. This is that similar situation where Tomio has that same advantage in the early game, and I want to see if he's going to be able to take advantage of it.
All right, it is do or die time once again. You've started to sow the seeds, a reverse sweep for Evil Geniuses Challengers, but it's going to take 2 more wins for them to cross that finish line and take down DSG, take down Disguised. Only 1 more away as we head into the Rift for game number 4.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Oh, and I like what we're seeing here from DSG. I think they want to go for a bit of a invade, some shenaniganeries, as the Mad Magical so lovingly calls it.
Not going to be found, though, as good news for EG, at least in this game. Looking at the setups early, so Realma did this in the last game, but when you see the Mana Crystal start, your goal is actually to use Futures Market to get a 4-wave Lost Chapter. So on wave 4, you can see Realma base, TP back with a Lost Chapter. That's when you get really strong in this matchup. And for me, it's kind of tough to do a dragon before 6 when you have Ivern, but honestly, for EG, like, I'm wondering if they have any plans to just yoink an early neutral objective and try and slow down what could be a very catastrophic early game coming out of Disguise, because they need to find some way to compete against that.
I think they will try, but if DSG sniffs it out in any way, you got to let that one go. We talk about how strong the 2v2 is for Nietzsche and Zazel on the Aphelios and Nautilus, and you got to imagine with that kind of pressure, with that kind of prio, it's going to be really hard for this Ivern to actually pick up that first trig. But if they are able to sneak it away, would be monumental for them.
As we are still in the early stages of this game, I mean, what do we want to see off the checklist of Evil Geniuses when it comes to the early stages of this? Because he said about all this push that Disguise can really play with. What do Evil Geniuses have?
I mean, at the moment, it's a pretty defensive setup for them, because Armeo with this Ivern, he's going to be able to really clear back, and he went for the full clear on the Ivern, as he has prepped every camp. He's going to smite away the Krugs, or... All right, not smite away. He's going to walk on back. He's going to save that smite. His goal now is to finish on the top side of the map, so it will be a mirrored clear compared to the Sejuani, because Sejuani going top to bot. Ivern's now going to be going bot to top. So I expect Ivern actually to be very safe in this first clear, and Ezreal and the Rel, they actually do have shove, at least in the early levels. So Ezreal utilizing the Qs and early power of the range to make sure that he has push in this matchup. Meech did go for the Cole, not quite contesting as much early. He's going to need to rotate out some guns, and maybe there's a look where he's at blue-purple guns to try and pressure this Rel plus Ezreal bot side, as Aphelios brings a lot of gank system power there.
And now, I mean, as the junglers are just continuing, it's looking like we're going to see those mirrored full clears like you're talking about there. I'm surprised Tomio didn't go for something a little spicy like an early gank, but it seems like he's just going to go for that level 4. He's going to potentially go for that bottom gank. I mean, the no vision is there. It's been pinged out. I mean, he's playing Sejuani. Could easily see that Arctic Assault over the wall.
Armeo already has that basin and is going to be sprinting towards that bot crab. So that wave, of course, DSG, we saw their bot lane. They were under turret at level 2, so their wave is currently bouncing back out. We think this should enable Tomio to pick up this crab. And Armeo, yeah, he's walking mid. They spotted the war. They're going to see that one. So still this handshake early, though, for Ivern. He loves this situation, right? You really want to get Ivern to 6 and lean on the power of Daisy in these earlier stages of the game where Ivern is scaling. You want that Moonstone. You want to get some items in your belt before you get really, really effective. So if you're dodging out of the skirmishing from Sejuani, you're winning.
Yeah, and they've been dodging out so far in these early minutes. That teleport that you talked about is here too. I mean, Ryoma has the lost chapter. He's starting to have a little more agency in this matchup. I mean, Armeo's got to be loving this. EG overall, even though Fake God ends up dodging the gank because of that ward, Armeo's still chilling.
You can see all the focus that they're putting on the Sturdy. Of course, he did blind that Cassante instead of the Renekton. And he was just gifted a control ward. And Armeo, he's got smite up. Gromp's about to spawn. That should be his.
I mean, he is the general. He knows what to do on this map. And right now, he's commanding one of his strongest soldiers over there on the top lane, Sturdy, making sure that he's going to be A-okay. And stealing away some of the camps at the same time. Tomio coming in a little bit late. Ward spots him to get a frown on his face and what is one of the most beautiful smiles in the league as his Gromp camp has been taken.
I thought you were talking about the Pro Rider Sejuani skin, honestly. I mean, you can't really beat that smile with the tongue sticking out, you know?
Very true. I mean, I'm sure if Tomio did one of those, he might be able to beat it. You never know.
Nope, no chance.
No chance.
I'm paid by Riot. I must shield skins. I must shield skins.
He's a player.
Look at that stage. Where's that face at?
I mean, he's not smiling right now. He's very focused. But you know, if he does something cool, we get the camera. We will revisit this.
He's got some fans in the crowd. I think he's bound to be a fan favorite one day.
Oh, yeah.
His stream also way too entertaining to watch, especially when, you know, fans of him like Armeo are in there just chirping, which is really all the junglers chirping Tomio in his own Twitch chat. It's a tradition unlike any other here.
Yeah.
All right, well, now starting off, the Dragon is going to be Tomio.
Yep.
We'll play towards that bottom side. As he does have very, very strong priority coming out of both me and Zeyzal right now.
Again, this is what I expected. When I was talking about that early Drake, again, Ivern, you kind of need 6 to be able to contest any of these. So you can see Armeo trying to sprint towards that. He's already prepped 2 of his camps here on the bot side. Tomio, though, going top spot on this timer, mid-second rotation, able to get this Dragon for himself. These guys will feel very good about this. And also, clears the neutral objective off the map before that Herald spawn. So the opportunity to trade a Dragon for Herald taken away. These guys are the early game team. They want to make sure that those timers are desynced so they can try and secure both. Well done for Disguise. They hit their first early win count.
So hitting that fine, hitting it well, Disguised, putting the first steps in, and with a lot of confidence at that. I mean, Tomio no longer has to be that flexible anymore with the Sejuani left up. Can just be on that very, very confident, very, very competent champion at the same time. And now taking that recall, playing this map, that dynamic duo, both Tomio and Zeyzal, is something we're going to be watching throughout the entirety of this game when Tomio's on an engager.
Right, I mean, Tomio, we talk about his growth, development, the expansion of the kind of styles he's able to play. It's still cool that he can kind of break out reliable. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. On the Sejuani.
I like how you brought back expansion when we were talking about Manifest Destiny earlier. You know? I feel like
I'm getting off the desk, man. I can't.
Yeah, that's well. Hey, you know. In America for 24 hours, you are already embracing.
You're right. Oh, dude, it's like an infection. Like, how is this happening to me?
Well, continuing, we are a minute away from the Rift Herald, as we have a Renekton comp. Renekton, of course, is that Herald bot, so any Renekton team, they want to play for the Herald. You can see Zeyzal rotating up. Actually, a little bit early. Usually, we see supports base around this time to now walk up, but Zeyzal actually going before the timer, and EG have snuck in. As Beatdown, you were pointing out, maybe looking for a pick, but Zeyzal being very patient and not going to the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, and I want to credit both Zeyzal and Tomio for doing this one in game 2, because again, they know they have the priority, they know the expectation is, okay, dive bots. So the fact that Zeyzal sticks around, makes it, and is actually going back, just make sure to limit the opportunities that DSG are going for.
Yeah, also, this does free up Smoothie to actually get first say in the river. Like, if you wanted the base here or start walking up, he would be to that Herald first. But I don't know if the plan for EG is to actually contest this Herald. Ivern, you really want to have Moonstone, and you're going up against a Renekton comp, so I would very much doubt that EG even try to contest this, but at the moment, we are 8 minutes into the game, and Tomio has yet to start it, so curious when DSG moves towards that objective, as I feel like it's more of a question of when instead of if.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Renekton comp, and it's the Sejuani that's going to be paired alongside them, so that is so destructive when you're able to just sink in that permafrost onto someone and completely disconnect them from the game outright. Already pings coming onto that Herald. DSG are eyeballing it up.
Right, and I like the delay. It's the patience you talked about, Cubby. The fact is, they want to be able to limit the moves EG have. EG know they can't go for the Herald. The option is bot. Tomio and Zazel stick around, clear vision, make it as safe for their AD carry as they can, and because they know they can do this Herald at their leisure, they've now done it, and look at the map. What's the response? Nothing.
Nothing.
But honestly, like, we gotta take a step back and look at kind of how this series has gone. I feel like in the first 3 games, the team that has had scaling advantage has won. And this is one where we're looking at DSG's comp. They get outscaled. Like, they get outranged for sure when it comes to Azir plus Aphelios. And when you have an Ivern to try and at least survive the initial engages and shield your team from that big DPS, they should be able to play at range and actually buy some space, and I very much favor the scaling of EG. So I think that so far, Disguise, they have not yet gotten enough to break EG's comp. Now, they're still going to be stronger here moving forward for the next few minutes, but our eyes are really on Disguise. See what kind of plays can they make. As Tomio, I mean, we talked about him earlier. Are you going to dive or going to invade? So far, Tomio hasn't gotten any advantages.
Right, at this point, though, I imagine Ryoma is the target. It's this twofold benefit here where you set Ryoma behind if you can set up the dive, and I'm wondering if we see Young even try to make a play, see if he can get the flash out of Ryoma and set up the dive from the Sejuani, who has now hit that level 6.
And look at all this deep vision coming out from Evil Geniuses right now on the bottom side. Really laying claim to the jungle of DSG. It does seem like they want to play around there more than anything else. Keep a close eye on King while Smoothie is able to roam out alongside Armeo, looking for a dive to be set up onto Young, but Tomio, right place, right time.
Good hover from Tomio. That was necessary, but still you can see at this point of the game, EG are starting to actually get some pressure down onto Disguised, and that really isn't where Disguise wants to be at this point of the Rift, given the comps that we have. Now, positive for Disguise. We saw what FakeGod can do on this Renekton in the series. Even in that last game where they dropped, he was still a beast. He's got 3 points at the moment and a CS lead. So any fight that FakeGod is able to join, I feel like is going to be very winning for Disguised. And with this Dragon spawning in 10 seconds, if Disguised can wait until that Empowered TP comes back up, I think that might be the timer they look to try and take another neutral.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add too, I mean, this Renekton, FakeGod was making incredible space in that last game. I think him doing it this time, because the situation's a little different, would benefit DSG. The big standout I highlighted in draft was the Nautilus, because it's not as simple to be able to just scatter away the problem with that depth charge.
Scout of the Week lands on Young, but he will slide out. No threat to come through. Evil Geniuses setting up position over where this dragon is. Too bad Tomio has already done it first.
I kind of like the play from EG, because again, I don't think EG want to take a straight up 5v5 at this point. So they were almost trying to look for a pick onto Young to see if they could chunk him out. But Young, he's got that Empowered TP that just came off cooldown. And EG, again, understand, credit to both of our teams here in finals. EG have done good jobs of dropping objectives and committing to dropping those objectives early, because when you do that, you can actually trade out on the other side of the map. This is relatively simple League of Legends, but sometimes our Challengers teams like to throw down. So 100%. Here, it's good to see them making the smart decisions and making sure they're able to find trades elsewhere.
And you know what? I think that really says a lot about these teams in particular, just because even though we have experienced players kind of baked into a lot of these rosters, the 5-man is still a new thing for Disguise, for EG, with some of the roster changes coming through. So that is something to absolutely celebrate. The fact that we're seeing some really good, clean League of Legends here. We're in a developmental league, guys, and the fact that we really do have our 2 best teams playing the best league we've seen so far in Challengers in finals is a treat.
Top lane, bottom lane, gold cash in for DSG. One's going to be the Rift Herald, one's going to be FakeGod getting some alone time with a tower. And look at that top lane tower, pretty much matches what we saw on the bottom.
It's good. I still don't think it's enough, though. I really think that this is a team where you need to get over a 3-4K gold lead at 15. As, again, Renekton Sejuani, when you're playing these champs later in the game into Syndra plus Ezreal, the amount of poke and peppering that you're going to take from those two champions, you should never be able to fight on even footing. These guys, once again, need to find these snap engages, which they have been so good at doing this year, especially off the back of Zeyzal, but I think it's going to be tricky for these guys. They don't continue to use the strength they have now to amass more gold on their shoulders.
So one thing I'm thinking that they're trying to play towards is something they do actually very often. When they draft for 5v5, even in situations where they get outscaled, they create a position. Whoa.
Okay. That's nice. I mean, they just got Ryoma's flash for free.
Yeah.
That's a really good punish because now with Azir, very easy to rinse and repeat on mid.
Right, and not just that. That flash is going to be down for this next Drake, and that's kind of what I was highlighting. DSG, really big on dragon control. Going into the series, they actually had the second highest of the game at 62%. They were down only 1% to TL, who were the #1, and it's so important for them because they set up for objectives really well. They find these angles and out 5v5 other teams in this league, and that is what they're looking for here. EG's comp, they don't necessarily want to be walking into you. A soul point coming through here for DSG creates that scenario for you.
Yeah, Tomio hit it top right here. He wants to make sure that first brick is going to go over to DSG, and it's secured with relative ease, but it's Ryoma who's roaming up as well.
Yeah,
it's too late, though. Tower's already been taken. Fake God, Tomio, they get out like bandits.
I mean, well done by DSG, as Fake God ahead of where I'd expect the matchup to be, taking first brick when plates are up too. Pretty big gold injection into that Renekton, and wherever this Renekton goes, I don't think EG can fight at the moment.
Yep. You need to play away from this champion for, honestly, the next little while there, and that's going to be really difficult because, again, Dragon's in 2 minutes now. This Renekton is very accelerated, and you got to imagine Fake God is going to show up to this fight. He can even play in the side lane right now because he still has that teleport. He can play into Surdy in that long lane.
It looks like he's going to be going for the Sterax too, so not quite as much armor shred, but a little bit more survivability.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think that, you know, the point you made about that upcoming Dragon beat, it's a good one. I just want to throw on. Do EG even want to fight that? I think that at this point of the game, that Dragon, I mean, props to DSG. The timer is early enough, but it's a real decision for EG of, hey, this is the third Dragon. We're not strong enough yet. Do we fight or not? I've seen EG historically drop these from what we've seen in playoffs, which frankly, at this point of the game, I think is the right call.
I agree with you, actually. I really like that. It's something I've been really vocal about, especially kind of critical about Cincinnati Fear, because we know how they are. They like to fight a lot of these objectives. But I really think in this situation, I agree. We favor EG scaling. Dropping this next Drake and fighting at the Soul is the play.
I mean, we see that they're fighting at Rift Herald right now as they at least pull it.
See, they're
and yeah, they get DSG to dance around it. They need to rotate Surdy up as Fake God is ahead of the play if you look at the minimap.
All right, Cubby, you said before 15 minutes you want to see a 3 to 4K lead.
Yeah.
Is this still a good position? We're 2K in the lead right now, and DSG are still fighting up.
I mean, DSG is winning. They want to take this fight. The question is, do EG give it to them? And at the moment, EG posturing with Daisy, trying to create some space.
All right, going forward is going to be Smoothie, able to find the Magnet Storm. Here comes forward, King throws it out, but down will go another.
Fake God.
Not
Fake God.
Fake God goes deep and tears apart the health bars. But can the rest of DSG clean up the fight? Answer is going to be no. 2 for 2.
I mean, it's good for DSG. They're going to walk away with a Herald, but honestly, I think EG, they'll take that 2 for 2. Fake God's so big at this point of the game, they were able to take him down. We saw the amount of work he was able to put in that team fight, but look at where the gold went. Kill goes to each soul laner here of EG. That's not bad.
Yeah, true. I mean, you're not getting gold onto Young and Meech, which you would really like to get. So now it really kind of hinges on this Rift Herald and what else you're going to be able to take. I mean, Dragon is coming up very, very shortly, and they're actually recalling very late.
Props to Smooth. You can see some of the strength of Rel Ivern. You can hide the Rel in the brushes. It gets him a really big engage. He finds a 3-man combo, and then Surdy tried to take Fake God over the wall, just short on that all-out, getting him out of the fight. Fake God makes EG feel the brunt of that pain, but still, yeah, the health bars are low. Yeah, they lost that fight, but on the scoreboard, it's a 2 for 2. They got gold in better places. Now, they actually reset first, so they have advantage on this third Dragon.
And this is tough right now. I mean, Tomio doesn't have ultimate, so it's going to be hard for him to engage. Neither does Zeyzal. DSG is still setting up into this position right now. They'll put down the Rift Herald to charge into the mid lane. They do have a flank with Fake God, who's coming in. 30, not going to land much, but Tomio wants to get that still. Smoothie leading the charge. Half of his health is all that remains. Tomio goes forward. Tomio looking for a man. Goes in. That burst of 5 will split Evil Geniuses in half. Is it enough to take the fight? Tomio thinks so. as he swings away, but King returns fire with the Mystic shot, and DSG start heading for the hills, a 1-for-1 trade.
And this is what EG's comp wants to do. They want to play these fights though, lean on the Moonstone Ivern as they have the range, they have the poke, and now Ryoma has the angle.
Ryoma's coming in, looking for the scatter of the week.
Oh, Tomio!
Ultimate's back up, goes on to Ryoma! And Tomio will be able to take down Ryoma! It's low! Still able to secure it, will be King. Surdy's low, Moonlight Vigil goes out, and the rest of Evil Geniuses head for the hills.
I mean, wow, that was a really good response coming through there from Tomio. It's really tragic for DSG that they didn't get the dragon, though. They aren't necessarily able to play for that soul, but you're going to see before this replay, they're going to take that turret.
I mean, some nice drifting here from Tomio to get around the scatter and connect that, but still the dragon goes over to EG. That's the true prize. They buy themselves a mountain dragon and another 5 minutes to scale.
Yeah, and that's such a big deal for them. When we talk about how good their scaling is going to be into that late game, and look at that. They weren't even able on the side of DSG to get that mid-tier 1 turret. Don't get me wrong, spit on it, and it's going to go down. It's extremely low health, but the point is, EG still trading up, even though they're down 2,500.
And you can see how that comp works into that Renekton Sejuani. If they are able to reset the fight using the Ivern, using the scatters, using the slipperiness of King on this Ezreal, EG will be safe. They will be able to do damage and fire back, and DSG don't have an answer unless their engages are clean. They can do a good job of closing the gap.
Those shields get so frustrating to have to deal with from an Ivern, because the longer the fights go, that means the more he's using that shield. It keeps coming. Second rotation, third rotation, and it's how Evil Geniuses are trying to take these fights, take them as long as possible.
Not only that, but also Redemption coming in next here for Armeo, so he will have that big AoE heal for his team as the Knight's Vow being put onto the shoulders of Meech. Meech, again, second in DPM in Challengers playoffs at 790. He has been fantastic at pumping out the damage as his team is great at setting him up for success. He is on his Aphelios that was 10-2 coming into the day and already drew a win and a ban in game 2 and 3 respectively. Meech has to be the one to step up and really make sure that he's able to capitalize off of the engages from DSG before EG can reset the fight so they can get ahead in kills and try and snowball fights forward.
Yeah, and his flash timer is going to be so important as well. He's been able to output a lot of this damage because he's able to flash away, avoid some of the engage coming through here from Surdy, from Smoothie, and the fact that it is coming back online, the fact that he has the Infinity Edge means DSG actually feel good about starting this Baron. Meech isn't even quite there yet. I think they want to watch
I think they have to start it because they know that this is where they're strong. They want to fight now. They don't want to fight later. They're going to bring EG to them and force EG to play Disguise game.
Yeah, Zazel able to land one hook. Doesn't matter, it's on Surdy. Surdy's A-okay with that one. Daisy comes down. Now coming through, they're jumping onto Ryoma. They want to take him down. He's dead! He's dead! And going through is going to be DSG. All out comes in. Fake God doesn't care. Missing the Emperor's Divide, but it is okay for DSG as they'll trade up.
That was a clutch flash from King, gets him out of that Shurima Shuffle combo, but DSG, they have the man advantage. They return to the Baron.
I mean, you have your two biggest damage dealers. This Baron is still going to melt.
Oh, Zazel's right there, able to get a hook right on the Surdy.
He's low.
Surdy's too low. Scatter the weak. We'll find the disengage. It's enough to stop the Baron.
Just barely enough HP on Surdy's shoulders to live. That does get DSG off the Baron. We can see DSG, really, they want to force now. They know that they are strong now. They have to bring EG to them. I respect DSG going for these plays, and credit to them. They pushed their gold lead up to 4K. Yeah.
I mean, it almost worked too, and you can see it. They do so much damage here, and I mean, look at this team fight. Really good ultimate there. I'm not even sure how it went through Daisy and ends up hitting Armeo, but they blow him up instantly, and at this point, you're really liking your chances. You trade up. What really matters after is the fact that the remaining members of EG were able to force DSG off the Baron. That Baron could have broken this game wide open.
4K gold lead. DSG have done a nice job in the last couple of minutes at getting some more gold on their shoulders, and it has paid off. Infinity Edge now in Meech's inventory. Gnasher's Tooth should be ready for the upcoming Dragon fight, which is a minute away, with Baron on the table as well. Teams will be able to play towards both monster objectives, and EG, they don't have to fight this Dragon if they don't want to. That was another big thing that they bought themselves when they got that last one.
Right, and not only that, the fact that this Dragon's up in 40 seconds, EG, I like that they're not starting it. They're waiting until both objectives are up. They don't care if this Drake goes through. They earned that with that last Drake they picked up, and they can just
They never want to start Baron against this comp. You never want to give DSG the ability to walk in straight forward. They're going to try and poke and prod But you can see Zeyzal playing defense. He is on a control board, so he is not spotted. Will show himself now.
Ooh, yeah,
No scatter.
We saw what happens if DSG's left alone with Baron, but it does look like a fight will break out in the mid lane. Ultimate's going to land on Fake God. He's going to lose half his health in the process, and it's 10 seconds before the dragon does come up.
Those are really big ultimates that are out of the picture. You drop the Sejuani ultimate onto Surdy, who doesn't lose really any of his health, and Fake God's in a tough spot. No teleport. He can't back right now. He has to stick around. He has the dominance to play with, but it's going to be hard for him to look for those angles we need him to.
And this is where the Ivern's so strong, because I talked about how DSG were trying to draw in EG, but EG are just staying stacked with the Ivern. As long as you're in this 5-stack and you have that Daisy up and the Moonstone going, the Ivern comp's going to win out the end, as it's a range advantage plus Ivern. So DSG have to find a way to break this formation at EG.
My biggest concern right now is going to be we have the same 2 carries that we had in game number 2. Azir, Aphelios. What happened in that game? DSG could rush that Baron at any given time. And now that the Nashor's Tooth is completed, we're getting towards that stage where DSG, if you're at the wrong footing whatsoever for Evil Geniuses, Baron belongs to DSG.
And I like that both teams really just ignoring this Drake at the moment here, though it's worth noting King is now in the area. He is spotted out on Vision, so DSG, decisive call right away. They're going to go ahead and start this one up. They take this really quickly.
They saw King. There's a small ward on the Dragon. They saw King peppering it. That's all DSG needed to start this one up. Fake God has a good angle here.
Yeah, and he's popped the Dominus. He's waiting for the right target. Instead, we'll just collapse onto Surdy. Surdy's still trying to fight this out with the All-Out, but Fake God able to get the Ruthless Perimeter. He comes in looking for an engage. Wants to find the ultimate, but he's already dead. Fake God will take him down and survive in the process as Domio hops forward on the Ryoma, gets the stun through. Now Fake God's left by his lonesome. Has to flash out of it, but down a man is going to be EGC.
And you still trade positive. Again, Fake God making so much space on this Renekton for Young and Meat, and now they feel confident enough about starting this one.
Ryoma has the execute available on Syndra. He got past 100 stacks. That's going to be very important, but they're going to keep Baron aggroed as Fake God comes back. He can tank it again. Tomio is low.
Yeah, teleport comes out from Surdy. He's able to join back in. Yeah, Tomio can't take another scatter of the week. It would ruin him completely. That would throw the fight.
Well played by Ryoma to find that chunk over the wall. I think that's what got DSG off that Baron. We can see still how much pressure that EG is under at the moment, because DSG, again, this is where they are strong. They continue to force EG to come into them, and it's working for Disguise.
Yeah, and Disguise are making the right calls for the most part here. They know what they need to be going for, working on, and things like that. But EG, they've been doing a pretty good job at stalling them, slowing them, and time is EG's friend, and DSG are at this point where they have enough vision around the Baron, so they're just going to go ahead and pick up this Drake. It's actually free, which is a huge benefit here for DSG, because now they're at Mountain Soul Point.
I think that's still okay by EG, because again, EG, by taking that Dragon prior to this, they still buy themselves time, and when that Soul's on the table, it's going to be over the 30-minute mark in this game, which for the Syndra, for the Ezreal, and the range that EG will have, another item likely for the Ivern too. I think that is actually okay for EG, but Disguised, they need to find ways to continue to push this pace.
You know, that's fine for the Dragon, but Baron is up right now, and we already talked about it earlier about what this Azir and what this Aphelios does. So DSG can still play this game where they're forcing Evil Geniuses to make a move.
They can, but it is really tough for DSG to walk into River when EG has control. Walking into Ezreal Syndra, that's rather dire. So I think that EG did a nice job by giving that Dragon and having Rhymo play topside. They actually set up a defense already for Baron, so Disguise, they even out the midways, but they have to use the first turn to actually clear out Vision and push EG back. So they cannot start the Baron until they get another midwave and then take the second turn to do that.
Oh, Meech is not there. So it would be a good engage by EG, but fighting for that vision control, being able to wrestle it right back over to EGC, can't do it because Scuttlecrab was taken by DSG in the process.
Right, but these next couple of minutes are going to be...
Scatter of the week, it lands onto Meech. Meech is okay, though. Tower's getting pretty low. Daisy still leading the charge. Fake God has to bail out, and here comes Smoothie, able to get the engage, but look at that knock-up go through for the death charge of Zeyzal! DSG is still fighting, but the scatter of the week of Ryoma! Ember's Divide comes through, and Smoothie gets dropped! Surdy's deep, Surdy's down, and Meech will take his head.
Right, this is huge. You trade up as DSG. You go 1 for 2. You have an opportunity to maybe try and make the Baron happen again. But what I was going to say beforehand is that now, in these next couple of minutes, if DSG are able to keep their power on the map, get themselves this Mountain Soul, I mean, playing into a comp like this could actually be their win con. And you see this fight. Meech insta-cleanses. They try to burst him down, but this is Disguise Disguised bread and butter. They keep making space for this Aphelios, and Meech, who we credit for spacing and maximizing his DPS so well. Look at it, man. He's free firing.
Yeah, and I think that EG just has to be a little bit more disciplined here by playing with their range, because you can see the power of when Scatter comes out. What happens? We gotta go back to live. Sides their mouth again.
Yeah, they're right on Baron right now.
They got it.
Armeo's not close enough. Baron's been taken by DSG. Again, you leave it alone and they will just snatch it right out of your hands.
Turo, Baron buff secured. Look at the timer in the top left and top right of your screen. They're going to have that Baron for when the soul spawns in favor of DSG. That was huge. They were able to take that in the back half of that reset.
And we said that was going to break the game open here. The Baron buff for the side of Disguise. And you said it, Cubby. They're going to have that map pressure on lock, as they're just going to very likely 4-1, push mid, push bot, set up for this Drake. If they get that Mountain Soul, that's their way to the 3-1.
And that's it right there, B. Look at where DSG are going. They're not going towards that top side anymore. They're done. They've already done their business. They got the Baron. They're focusing on both mid. They're focusing on both bottom. They want to shove these waves in and have this stay perfect for them. And they found King. He will be chased right on out, but it's DSG who hold control of this bot side jungle of EGC.
Cleanse is a nice take, as that can be punished by Disguise. Tomio now, a sound Glacial Prison is going to force King to shift or flash away. As this push, I think that EG, they're going to seed the inners and try and fight at inhibitor turrets.
I mean, we're a minute 30 for this next Drake. I'm not even sure we're going to get to those inhibitor turrets. Right now, EG really fighting tooth and nail here, using Daisy, trying to protect this tier 2.
It is really tough to siege into Ivern. EG, they have no reason to seed. They will never seed an inhibitor turret. They know that, like, if they overextend in that, they can fight. But at the moment, I think it's really tough for Disguise to even take this. Again, they are outranged by the Syndra and the Ezreal. Yes, it is a Baron buff. Yes, the wave clear is very much diminished by EG, but it doesn't matter given the range they have and the protection from the Ivern.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth noting, too, with that Baron buff that they're sitting on, you can stay a little bit of extra time and then recall in time for the Drake, but they're just going to go ahead and give this one up. They're not chipping away at the tier 2 turret enough with those Baroned up minions, so now it's just going to be clearing out vision, flushing EG out of their bottom side jungle, and trying to set up for this Drake.
Really big here, I do want to highlight, we just had luxury items being picked up by Disguise. It is a GA and 2 stopwatches now for their carries. That is not answered by the carries of EG. So Disguised for this Mountain Soul have a lot of bonus tools to try and make plays in the EG, much needed for them, as they have complete river control, and it's going to be really tough for EG to fight into this one.
Yeah, they don't want to walk into DSG's composition, but now they seeded the Drakes, Cubby. They knew they needed to buy their time, but time is up now because if DSG get this one, you said it, Young and Meek very strong.
Scatter's down.
But this is like fighting Batman right here. There's so much in the utility belt of DSG, and look how fast it's going down. It's still leading, and here comes the fight from DSG. Able to use the Magnet Storm, but here comes the fight on the back end as Meech is able to wail away. Take down King, take down Smoothie, take down Evil Geniuses.
We wanted 3 to 4K ahead. How about 6,000 and a Mountain Soul? Disguise blow this game wide open, and they're well poised to close the series.
That Baron was so big, it made the setup for Dragon so easy. EG were never able to get the poke down from the Syndra, the Ezreal. You make it so hard to enter River for teams like this. You want to lean on a neutral map state, play with your range, Disguise by forcing objectives. They never enabled EG to do this, and they pick up the soul for themselves.
Yeah, DSG throughout this whole game are saying, nah, it is my move, it is my turn. You're dancing to my tune, man. And look at this, DSG. They were rewarded earlier with the Baron. They get the Dragon Soul, and now Inhibitor's falling.
And it's just the culmination of the style we've seen from Disguised all split long, especially in these last couple of weeks here in playoffs, playing for objectives, forcing comps that don't want to walk into them to have to walk into them by getting these soul points, forcing these situations where you need to contest them. And now, after a great secure from Tomio, a great team fight from DSG, the only hope for EG now is this Elder Dragon in a couple of minutes. I don't know if we're even going to get there.
If they get set up in River first, it is tough for DSG still to walk in. So that is where EG could try to find some poke, but now with Mountain Soul, it's really hard for them to move anymore. So I think this is kind of the bridge they needed to match the scaling of EG, and in the raw 5v5, as you've been calling out correctly, Desterux, you cannot compete with the DPS of an Azir plus an Aphelios. So again, EG have to stay disciplined, play at the range where they are stronger, and DSG have to continue to play their game and find ways to break that, which they've done so well so far.
And I think the next step in their game might be Baron once again, because it's a minute 20 before that spawns, and they're already well set up in that side of the map with wards.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the mini-map right now. You can just see the vision that's been set up all across the board here for the side of DSG, and the fact that there's very limited vision here on this top side in favor of EG, and as a result, they're perfectly set up. When there's one objective at a time, this gold lead that DSG has is enough for them to be able to just exert their power here. Tomio, he's perfectly fine. He even feels good about walking back in, as EG have to group as 5 to actually clear out any semblance of vision here, giving a DSG the opportunity to clear out other lanes. Look at Fake God, he's pushing out this bot side.
One other thing I'm looking out for, Death Cap was just completed there by Young, but if Ryoma is able to match with a Death Cap of his own, the way that
Very
synergizes
strong
with Syndra and her kit, that is a big spike for EG that I think they're looking for at this point of the game.
In the mid lane, this is so tense right now as evil geniuses, they feel death upon their necks.
He's got the angle.
And it might be a pair of gator jaws that bite into you. Here we go. Young Emperor's Divide comes out,
shuffle.
launches them into Zeyzal. Zeyzal able to lock down, but Sturdy finds Young. Smoothie goes low. No one has fallen yet. And EG are able to survive the onslaught.
Big props to Ryoma. He found a two-man scatter on the Bash brothers of Fake God and Tomio, but the health bar's still in advantage of Disguise.
Look at this Baron!
There are no TPs left for EG. It melts to the DPS of Disguise as they take another Turbo Baron buff for themselves.
Gone in the blink of an eye, and they keep making these plays beat. They keep forcing the issue.
And you can see it, the teleport from Fake God. I mean, again, Tomio is finding these drifts, finding the right targets here with this ult, but it's Ryoma getting the setup, making the space, and is the big shout out for why DSG just didn't fully wipe
But
it.
I still love the approach from DSG, how they were able to split Armeo from the rest of the fight with the Emperor's Divide and the angle that Fake God took. That's a very sound play into the Syndra Ivern comp that very much wants to front to back. So it was TP burned by Fake God. We'll see if Young can have a big one. He does have Flash and Shuffle up with the Flash down on Ryoma and Armeo. That's where I'm looking out for now, if Young can really step up and make sure that he shuts the door on this last team.
And I want to quickly add to that too. I mean, this has been a good series for Young overall, a player we did want to see more from, and you can see it. Most damage in that last team fight has been playing Azir all series long, and what a way to close the series and grab the championship for a player like him. His first year at this level.
Again, we are a minute 15 away from the Elder Dragon Disguise. Have to respect the power of that objective, trying to get everything they can, though, before that comes on the map. They will have the Turbo Baron buff on their shoulders for a wave and a half while that will spawn. Mid inhibitor falls, and this guy is going to look for the top side as well.
All right, focusing onto that top tower, it's melted, and Armeo can only watch as the Gator is able to deconstruct. Ultimate goes out, lands onto King, able to cleanse away in time. Tomio takes a bit of damage. Zeyzal will land the depth charge into Ryoma, but he's underneath minions. He's underneath that tower.
I really like how Sturdy was playing defense to protect from the dredge line going through on Ryoma, and I also like what this guys did there, because that ult, the Glacial Prison, it'll be back up in time for Elder. The cleanse will not, so it's still a positive play, taking away summoner spells from EG.
Right. Passive going to be used. This is going to make that push even more devastating in the mid lane when you have minions crashing into your Nexus tower over in the top side. Zeyzal lands another hook. Goes on to Sturdy. Sturdy's going to be fine with that one as Tomio leading the charge. Will back right back up, but here it goes. The engage. Sturdy's low. Fake God jumps in, looking for Smoothie. Smoothie's the first one to fall. Emperor's Divine goes in. Sturdy falls, and DSG history in the making as they march towards the Nexus Towers. 3 champions from Spring, raising 2 phenomenal young stars. Welcome to the new era. A toast to our champions disguised.
It's raining gold and raining post-it notes here in the Riot Games Arena as the t-shirts have toppled the jerseys, the content creator has toppled the $1 billion org, and 3 of our champions from Spring get to hoist the pendulums again now on the Riot Games Arena stage as Disguise, your victors this summer.
Beat, how incredible has it been, man? Especially seeing these 3 players. We had the whole thing that happened during the offseason, seeing teams get dropped, seeing players get dropped, finding a new home, a new avenue, a new era with the content creator team, and of course picking up some of the youngest talent that we have that have been performing in previous seasons, bringing this team together. Yeah. It's amazing, Beat.
I mean, and this just proved that the path to pro is not linear. This team has players with varying levels of experience. And how about a championship in their first split together on this content creators team? Big ups to Disguise and the infrastructure he's put together with this team to be able to make this happen.
This was a tier 1 event for Disguise. They brought the house for it. They brought the whole team. They had a tailgate and everything, and now the fact they get to raise the pendulums, great moment for them.
Oh man, let's put the chains around the neck. We no longer have one team that has 2 chains now. Team Liquid had a fantastic performance last year, but now DSG, it is their era. Both Zeyzal, FakeGod, Tomio feel so good to win that 2nd championship, to dominate the year. Feels even better for Young and Meech to step up for the first time.
Yeah. And I know that, like, the path to pro, you know, we've seen players like Dokro come through this era. He's now going to Worlds. I know that, you know, for a player like FakeGod, talking with him, he's like, hey, this is my big push to try and make it back in the LCS. Zeyzal been very passionate about how, hey, I want to go back in LCS and make my mark. The fact that these guys hoisted 2 chains and also made themselves and everyone else around them better throughout both of their runs, so impressive for them. As it's been great to see this team step up throughout summer, and great to see them, well-deserved, hoisting the trophies.
And think about how dedicated this has been. I mean, for Zeyzal, trying to raise up all this talent alongside him, I mean, it's great to see the results of all this hard work that DSG have put in. You know, as you said, it's not linear. Zeyzal has said in the past that he wants to do it on his terms. He wants to get back to the LCS stage. Same thing with FakeGod. I do believe with performances like this and holding 2 chains around your neck, you might be in consideration.
Yeah, also just want to say, shout out to Coach Golden Glue. Took a split off, came back. He's made finals the last 3 splits that he has been coaching. Hoisting it twice as well. As really good to see the support for Disguise. We had a full arena for them.
Yeah.
And everyone's rooting out our new content creator org, as they prove they can beat anyone in the Tier 2 league. Someone's going to have to come after that next split.
And what a run they had, too. I mean, finishing 3rd in the regular split, winning all the way through the upper bracket. Very much being the team to be challenged in EGC. They just couldn't do it. 3-1. It looked like a game 5 was on the horizon, but DSG making a lot of good decisions at the end, back of half.
That was a tense game 4. And hey, props to FakeGod, man. He made that 3-1 gentleman sweep come true, right?
He did, yeah. I mean, he said it as much in that interview, and he lived up to it.
All right, well, to celebrate this win, we're joining Kangas and players on this stage for an interview with our winners.
Thank you very much, Deathstrikes. One more round of applause. All right, we have Tomio and FakeGod up first. Tomio, I gotta ask, this is your first time playing on stage. You've already won. You're back-to-back champions. What was the experience like this time, though, being on this stage?
It was a pretty good experience. The first game, I was hella nervous and stuff, but after my 2nd clear, I was like, oh, it's not too bad. I'm just playing League of Legends at home. But if people in the crowd are I don't know, I just hear a lot of random stuff in volume. But yeah.
Were any of your teammates able to help you out, give you some advice?
Yeah, I'd say in game, at least for mid to late game, they did a really good job of keeping the whole team calm and collective. I'd say when we played from home, some games would panic a lot after Baron pushes and stuff. But we learned how to just chill out and make 1 or 2 people talk, compared to 5 people talking at once after we get Baron.
Yeah. I love the answer. I love the thoughts there and hearing the experience. But I want to go down to FakeGod because it was a tumultuous offseason. We talked a little bit about your offseason and taking a chance on DSG, joining this team. Was this your expectation, or what were your expectations when you signed on for this team?
Yeah, this was my expectation. When I heard that we're going to have Tomio and Zeyzal, I was like, okay, I think we can just win again. And it's fine. So I was pretty confident.
All right, so pretty high expectations.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Tomio, You won with C9, but now you just beat the team that traded you back last year. Does that make this mean anything more for you?
I guess it does. It's like revenge on your own org.
Right?
And that year I had like a pretty bad year on 2022. But it feels good to win again, especially against former teammates like Surdy and Smoothie and an old friend of mine a long time ago was Armao. When I first got into like high elo, he would always come to my streams and stuff. And when I was watching pro play, I would look up to him as a player.
So now that you've been wholesome, do you? This is your moment to talk trash if you want to. The camera's right there.
I mean, I don't need to. I'm
The gameplay did the talking.
I'm just playing League of Legends. Like, I don't care that much to talk trash. I'm too nice of a person. I can't do that. I feel too bad.
All right.
Yeah. Maybe another
Gracious in
time.
victory. Gracious in victory. Well, speaking of talking trash, maybe not as much trash, just confidence. Because Fake God, we've talked earlier in the split, and you said that you think you are definitively the best top laner, not in LCS, that is currently in North America. You just won the championship. So this is your chance to talk to any of the LCS team scouting in the offseason. Why should they be looking at Fake God?
I'm playing a lot more better than before. So I'm a better player now, so that's all. That's
He's
really
back.
it.
He's back. He's so back. All right. I want to get your thoughts as well on DSG, the organization coming into it. This is your chance. Any messages you have for Toast? Any message you have for teammates? Any message you have for the coaches?
Thank you, Toast, for picking me up. It was a really good decision by you. And then thank you for all the fans supporting us and DSG. And thank you to Grayson for carrying us in our drafts. And thank you, Ross, for analyzing the teams really well. And just everyone else, just thank you. Thank you.
All right, minus marks for no Patreon. Tomio, can you pull this one off?
Pull what off?
Your thoughts? Any message you have for Toast teammates or coaches? Anyone watching?
Shout out for Toast for taking a chance into the scene. It's the only reason why I guess we're all here as the 5 people to play the finals. Shout out to my coach, Golden Googler Grayson, for dealing with me. Shout out to my teammates, Fake God, Young, Meech, Zazel.
I had to think about that last one. Yeah, I had to think about it.
Playing with them was like, it was really fun, and if I could do it again, I would. Who knows? But shout out to the Patreons. But shout out to the fans because or the DSG fans because it's the most support I felt, or at least for myself, got into my career in like 2 months. Even when we're losing, when we're winning, they're still supporting no matter what, which is crazy. And shout out to the haters. And shout out, I don't know, my mom and dad for letting me do this.
Okay, can I still the shout outs?
Yeah, quick
Shout out to my parents for supporting me.
Shout out to the parents that support the
And
players.
my sister's there too, she's fine.
All the family.
Yeah,
All the family. Thank you so much, you two. Congratulations on the win. Now we're going to throw it over to Magical.
I'm here. I got Young. I got Meech here with me. So first, before we actually get any questions, shout out the Patreon.
Yeah, $5.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Patreon.
See, there we go. We already beat Fake God and we already beat Tomio on that. We got right to the point. But let's get the question. So obviously, you two are the newcomers for Disguised, joining the team and winning the title with them. So I just want to know how it feels. So let's start with you, Young.
It feels good.
Feels good? That's it? No, nothing else?
Yeah, it just feels good.
All right, good. All right, Meech, what about you?
Yeah, it definitely feels good as well.
Solid. All right, but let's get into the nitty gritty. Just wanted to get that out of the way. So, Young, this is your first year in Challengers, and you get to win the title in your second split. So, how has that journey been for you, going from like amateur before all the way to this moment?
I was scared to join Academy because I dropped out of college and I was just really scared. And then obviously the Academy stuff happened. But I'm glad I did. And honestly, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This whole experience.
All right, hey,
Yeah.
you win. You right. You got to win. You get the amulets around your neck. Sure, it's not the 2 chains like everyone else, but you know, at least you have that, right? So, Meech, I kind of want to move to you because your team has spoken highly about your abilities in the past and how you have been playing on quite a considerable amount of ping. But I know that's been like the meme, that's been the joke that the ping increases every time. But now on stage, you don't have to deal with that. So how has this experience been for you?
It was definitely pretty good, I'd say. Yeah, I felt a lot better playing on 0 ping, obviously.
Anything else? No. All fair. All fair. All right. And then Young, at the beginning of the year, you actually got to sub in and play with Golden Guardians in the LCS. And now here at the end of the year, you win Challengers League. That has been quite an incredible journey for you. How did that moment kind of motivate you to now winning it all?
Yeah, when I played, honestly, stage was really fun. And I just thought like, wow, if I get to do this for a living, it's like insane. So I'm just glad I got to play on stage again. And it was just really fun. So.
Well, it's good to have you here. It's good having you here, winning it all. And then, Meech, we saw earlier in the day, Masu won the MVP for the regular season. But yet, here you are. You're the one winning the title. You're the one who gets to hoist the amulets and say that you won Summer. So I gotta ask, who's better between you two?
I think he's pretty good, but I'd say I'm definitely better.
All right. There you go. I love it. All right, and last chance. Patreon, you want to shout them out again?
Yeah, $5.
$5?
Yeah, shout out to Patreon.
Perfect. Any other shout outs?
My mom and dad, my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Shout out to Toast for picking me up for the team. And shout out to everyone watching and everyone who came to support me.
All right, thank you too. I'm going to give it back over to Kangas so he can hear some words from Zazel.
Thank you very much, Magical. And I'm joined with Zazel and Coach Golden Glue here to chat about their victory. First of all, congratulations on the back-to-back.
Thank you. It was easier than expected.
Care to elaborate?
I mean, honestly, Fear pushed us harder for sure, but EG is really good and probably the better team, but I just felt like it was our series to lose pretty much right off the bat. The only game I was nervous for was game 1 because we have 2 players who are kind of like fresh.
What was that like then, helping them out? You know, what was your focus as a more veteran voice on the stage?
I say a lot of, guys, we don't have to do anything, and it's fine. And then let's just base.
All right. Well, that wasn't actually what I wanted to talk with you about initially. I want to start off with a little bit of a history lesson for anybody at home who might not be aware of this man that stands in front of us. 2018, subbed into Cloud9. You got top 4 at Worlds in your rookie year. You never were lower than 5th, 6th in any playoffs that you participated in. You took over a year off from competitive play, did a little bit of coaching, but now you're back and you just won back-to-back and are MVP of the finals.
True.
I mean, a crazy journey that you've been on. I want to get that journey from your perspective. What's it been like, and where do you see yourself going?
I mean, it's been wild. I mean, I realized when I got up here, I hadn't actually played on this stage in 3 years. So it's like, I did play a split, but it was during COVID. I took basically 2 years off from competitive play. And yeah, I mean, it's been wild. I didn't know how good I was. I was just running around in solo queue, feeding a little bit, but it turned out I was still pretty good. So it's been a long journey, but I'm happy to be here now.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Congratulations.
Coach Golden Glue, I want to talk with you next about what it's been like working with this team. I know that the offseason was crazy for everybody, but in particular, it felt like things just kind of came together for this squad. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I was on break before this split. I took like 8 months off, and I wasn't even really planning to coach a split. And then, Toast wanted to actually do the team. So within like a week, it kind of like everything just changed for me through a weekend actually, and we got the whole roster in, and I was really happy with the players we were able to pick up, and I think they did really good to get themselves here. A lot of other teams we were playing against, they had either they were playing together in an office or facility, and we were all remote the whole time. And it shows a lot of I think discipline by the players that I never had to really bother them about being late, coming to practice. We never had any of those problems. So really shout out to all the guys for that. Yeah.
Everybody put in a lot of work. That's worth a round of applause. I want to get both your thoughts on this next one because we have a motto on broadcast that the path to pro is not linear. You see all kinds of paths to get to the LCS. Zays in particular, your path has been, not necessarily a linear path to get there. What are your thoughts on the development of the scene right now, and any advice that you might even have for other developing players?
I'd say I had a really good first year. I was fortunate for that, but it's always going to be an opportunity for you to come back. Like, look at Surdy. I mean, he didn't start with the team. He came in. He was a good top laner, the second best other than my top, of course. But, I mean, he wasn't even on a team at the start of the split. And then me, I took, 2 years off is unheard of pretty much. And coming back like Uzi, you can do it. It's just hard. But I'd say now more than ever, there's seeming to be more eyes on the developmental leagues in North America.
All right. I'd love to get your thoughts as well, Golden Glue.
Yeah, I also was a player who went up and down in LCS and Academy. And I think you just have to know your priorities and know if that's something that you really want, and whether you can find an LCS team or Academy team, or whether playing solo queue or going to Korea is like the best thing for you. I think as long as you have your, I would say, like, eyes on the prize, you kind of just have to, every offseason, you don't know what team is going to pick up what player, and you always just have to deal with the hand that you're dealt. And I think like Zeyzal's a great example of someone who's done that.
All right, well, I think it's safe to say that everybody here made the correct decision in the offseason, as they are now multiple back-to-back champions, as well as a couple of first-timers here, which brings us to Toast. I like to end my interviews with a little bit of fun. So, Zeyzal, I got a question for you. It might get a little awkward given your employer. I give you $1 million in a briefcase, in cash, untaxed right now. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But for the rest of your competitive career, Toast is your permanent jungler. Do you take the money?
Yeah, and I'm out of there after the first split.
A short-lived career, but you're a millionaire. Congratulations. Any final shout-outs that you have for Toast teammates or anybody at home?
Yeah, shout out to all of my teammates. They're all great. Shout out to Cloud9. They let us stay at their house. They've been really good to us since we got there. Shout out to the Patreon, of course, Disguise Patreon. And shout out to my handsome coach that you see, and also our second also handsome coach, Acadian, who has been helping us, and Rast, our analyst. These guys are a bit not seen. But yeah, and my mom, my dad, all the good people at home.
Yeah. All the people showing support.
Yep. I'll shout out the players. You guys definitely deserve this medallion. I'm proud of you guys. Toast, Rast, Matthew, Acadian, back in the office, and my mom and dad, family watching, and all my friends who came out to support me. It means a lot. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Feels great.
Shout out Toast, shout out DSG, shout out to everybody in the audience for cheering. One last round of applause.
Hell yeah.
Woo! And with that, we're going to throw it back over to the analysts to close out the day. Your champions!
Hell yeah.
Hey, work. You're a beast out there.
Thank you.
That was hype.
Congratulations once again to Disguised. And in case you missed it, our player of the series is none other than Fear the Beard himself, Zeyzal. And it was an incredible performance. I want to first go to you, Manui, because I think it was really interesting. We talked so much about his decisiveness through this series and the turnarounds that he was able to really set up for his team.
Yeah, I think the decisions that he made and seeing how fast he pulled the trigger on his champions really made a difference in this series. And from our perspective, it looked like Meech was performing very well like he did. But I also think that it was because of Zeyzal.
And that being said, we actually get to take a look at some of the stats here. But more importantly, I want to go to the stats that might not be on the screen. Masu, to have such a veteran voice in the bottom lane, to have somebody who does make all those decisions, does that just make the job easier? Does that just make it where all you got to do is point your gun?
I think it does for sure. Of course, in the end, not to take credit away from Meech, because you need to have the gun to begin with. But having a veteran like Zeyzal makes decision-making a lot easier, makes planning so much easier, and makes the environment a lot smoother.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know about other teams, but our team, sometimes it felt like there was a voice that lacked. And during those times, most of the players go into like panic. So then a decision is made like very hastily. So I feel like having a veteran like Zeyzal helps a lot in avoiding situations like that, because he can make the decision quicker, he can plan it more ahead, and he can just make a better decision.
Yeah. I just want to get your quick thoughts, Magical. It's somebody you know very well, but Zeyzal have an incredible series here to finish out his year.
Fear the beard, man. You said it best. He is someone that I think when we look at his history, right, we always know that he's going to be a great player. But just to see him constantly, not even just be a great player, but be the best player. Be like, when you look at how he plays, he's constantly one of the best, if not the best supports that we have in either Challengers, LCS, doesn't matter. This guy is just so good.
Yeah, he is. Now, I do want to go ahead and check in on our final Samsung SSD Fast 5 from the entire split. So, we have some numbers to go through. It is separated by category of section of the map. Now, is there anything here, Manui or Masu, that really stands out to you? And again, this is for looking at kind of those fastest items, completions, the kills, things like that.
I mean, the APA's 8-minute mythic.
It's still holding up there.
Pretty
Still holding up
surprising.
there.
I don't know how he did that.
Hey, Master, I'm just happy that you got the fastest kill under a minute.
I mean, all
That was probably on an
the
invid.
fastest kill.
It was.
So.
It was. That's all I care about. Level 1 shenaniganeries. That's all I care about.
Do you have anything that stands out to you, Manui?
The fact that fastest kills is all ADCs.
So that one is all ADCs there, so it has to be there. But the fact that they have the like right close to each other, I think is really interesting. For me also is the jungle completion. I think it's really interesting to see how quickly our junglers have moved through the league. But you also have to remember that the LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car sharing marketplace, where you can find and book any car you want for just about any occasion. Forget about your boring car rentals today at Turo.com. Now, there is one last big thank you to give, and it is to everyone that has made this year possible, that has supported this community. And we'll go ahead and bring up our graphic here and show off a little bit of that, because that is our entire year, and without the community, without everyone here supporting us, without content creators like Disguise coming in, we would not be the same beast that we are today. And I think it has been an incredible journey from not only everyone here. I look around and Tegas is in a wheelchair because Bradley threw him through a table.
Hey, it's fine.
See, okay, at least we get the conclusion there. But that does conclude our year of the LCS Challengers League. We'll see you all again next year, and congratulations to Disguised. Have a great night, and we'll see you on Rift.
Woo!
This is a good setup for DSG right now. All Fake God has to do is mark Surdy, and then all the packs. Zeyzal!
Oh, Zeyzal goes in! Zeyzal's engages are so dangerous! A triple kill for Meech! Quadra kill in DSG! Sweep the floor with EGC!
Able to beat Bach. Baron started. Here we go.
The fourth one only knocks up one, but it's King. He'll get a double knock on the King, and look at Meech! Rain the feathers in! We'll get a double kill. Surdy gets slain. It's a triple for Meech. He's just collecting the dough all over the map, hand delivered by the rest of DSG.
The turn from Zeyzal, he almost has the Magnet Storm up. Keep an eye out for that.
Fake God's down. Can Romeo get another steal? He's going in. Smite comes down. Tomio's able to secure it, but can they secure the fight right after? Young can still bring in the DPS. He's peppering it onto Surdy. Surdy has to bail out. Surdy's too low. Surdy survives, and now King wants a piece of Young and gets slain in the process by the Azir of DSG Young. Zeyzal was able to find it. Goes for the backline. So does Fake God. He wants to find Smoothie. No Smoothie's able to back out, and now low health bars for Tomio, low health bar for Meech, and EGC, one up out, will take down Surdy as DSG will return it 1-for-1. Meech is low, but he's got the damage to bring the fight right back to Evil Geniuses. Paranoia comes out, still trying to bail, is going to be Fake God, but Paranoia goes onto him, a flash coming out from Fake God as he tries to find King, but King is strong, King is swinging away, and with a knockout to the end, they'll slam him right back to the ground. King takes down Fake God, but here comes Young, jumps in with the Embers to fight, but Surdy will deny him anything. everything else as evil geniuses go tooth and nail and one up DSG. Stops the engage of DSG nonetheless. Now Surdy pulling Tomio back in. Tomio's taking way too much damage, and Ryoma will definitely scatter the wick as DSG fall like lambs to the slaughter. Paranoia comes out. Young goes for one last heroic play, but the heroics will get you nowhere against evil geniuses challengers. Meech is okay though. Tower's getting pretty low. Daisy still leading the charge. Fake out has to bail out. Here comes Smoothie, able to get the engage. But look at that knock-up go through for the death charge of Zazel. Oh, DSG still fighting, but the scatter wake of Ryoma. Ember's Divide comes through, and Smoothie gets dropped. Surdy's deep, Surdy's down, and Meech will take his head. And here comes the fight from DSG. Able to use the Magnet Storm. Here comes the fight on the back end as Meech is able to wail away. Take down King, take down Smoothie, take down evil geniuses. History in the making as they march towards the Nexus Towers. 3 champions from Spring, raising 2 phenomenal young stars. Welcome to the new era. A toast to our champions, Disguise.